Fire if you love stories where the underestimated rise, justice is served, and power flips the script. Then you're in the right place. Collision, don't miss a single twist. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell so you never miss a moment where the quiet ones make the loudest impact. She walked in wearing confidence in class, but the receptionist only saw her skin. Seconds later, she was told to get lost. What they didn't know, she was the CEO about to decide their future. And in just minutes, she made a decision that would burn their company to the ground. It started like any other Monday morning at Halverson Tech, a sleek, glass-walled firm in the heart of the city. The kind of place where suits moved fast and decisions moved faster. The receptionist, Dana, was glued to her phone behind the polished marble counter. She barely glanced up as the front doors opened. Click, click, click. The sound of high heels echoed through the lobby as a sharply dressed woman strode in. Tailored black suit, leather briefcase, eyes focused, calm, confident. Her name was Maya Collins, but Dana didn't know that yet. Dismissed in seconds, "Can I help you?" Dana asked lazily, still scrolling through her feed. "Yes," Maya said with polite calm. "I have a meeting with Mr. Halverson at 10 a.m. Dana finally looked up and paused. She scanned Maya from head to toe, eyes narrowed with skepticism, then let out a little smirk. "Yeah, I don't think so," she said, already dismissive. "We don't take walk-ins. You can leave your resume if you're applying for an assistant position or whatever." Maya blinked once. No anger, no reaction, just a quiet, steady confidence. "I'm not here for an assistant job," she said. "I'm here for the boardroom. Please let Mr. Halverson know Maya Collins has arrived." Dana leaned back in her chair, arms crossed. "Sweetheart, people don't just walk in claiming they've got a meeting with the CEO." She scoffed. "You need to get lost. Now." Maya tilted her head. Still calm, still polite, but now just a hint of a smile. "All right," she said simply, turning away, not toward the door, but toward the elevator. Dana shot up. "Ma'am, you can't go in there." But Maya was already one step ahead. Enter the storm moments later. The glass elevator doors opened to the top floor, executive level, and within seconds, chaos began to unfold. Because you see, Maya Collins wasn't just anyone. She was the Maya Collins, tech innovator, startup queen, silent investor in half the firms downtown. And today, she was here as Halverson Tech's newest majority shareholder. Yeah, you heard that right. While Dana was scrolling TikTok and tossing attitude, Maya was acquiring controlling interest in the very company she was now standing in. And her 10 a.m. meeting with Mr. Halverson, it was to announce his termination and her takeover as CEO. Shock waves in the boardroom when Maya entered the boardroom. The executive stood up in stunned silence. Mr. Halverson, gray suit, comb over, a man used to running the room, froze mid-sentence. "Maya," he said, trying to smile. "You're here early." "I'm right on time," she replied coolly, taking the seat at the head of the table. "Let's get started." And for the next 30 minutes, she laid out everything: a restructuring plan, a new leadership team, and a long-overdue diversity and ethics overhaul. At the bottom of her agenda, unprofessional behavior in public-facing staff. Downstairs, panic. Meanwhile, Dana was back at the desk, complaining to her co-workers. "Can you believe that woman? Acting like she owns the place." A colleague whispered urgently, Dana, she kind of does." Dana laughed. "Yeah, right." Then she saw the news. A press release had just gone live. Maya Collins named CEO of Halverson Tech after securing majority ownership. Her jaw dropped. Her face went white. And at that moment, a security officer walked up to the desk with a folder in hand. "Dana Jenkins." She nodded slowly. "You're being asked to collect your things." Aftermath. Maya didn't gloat. She didn't say, "I told you so." She didn't even fire Dana herself. She let the company's new HR lead handle it. Professionally. Quietly. Because Maya wasn't about revenge. She was about respect and standards. The company's culture changed overnight. The toxic, old boys club energy? Gone. Maya brought in new talent. implemented mentorship programs, and turned Halverson Tech into one of the most inclusive and forward-thinking firms in the industry. Investors doubled, innovation soared, and everyone who once overlooked Maya, they were suddenly paying attention. Maya's message, when asked later in an interview about her first day at the company, Maya said something that went viral instantly. "I wasn't upset that the receptionist didn't recognize me. I was disappointed that she treated anyone like that, because you should never assume someone's worth by how they look when they walk through your door." That clip hit 10 million views in a week. Outro: never judge the quiet storm. Maya Collins reminded the world of a powerful truth. Never judge someone by their appearance. Never underestimate quiet confidence. And never treat people like they don't belong, because one day, they might be the ones signing your checks. In 10 minutes, Maya went from being dismissed to the most powerful person in the building. And the company, it never saw her coming. The room fell silent. The air shifted like someone had turned off the volume in the entire lobby. Dana was still sitting behind the marble counter, confused and irritated. But the people around her, their expressions had completely changed. One intern, Jordan, just a few weeks into his job, froze as if struck by lightning. "Wait," he whispered. "Did she say Maya Collins?" Dana frowned. "Yeah, so what?" Jordan's hands were already flying across his phone screen. He typed fast, pulled something up, and turned it toward her. The screen glowed with a bold Forbes headline: "Maya Collins, the billion-dollar mind behind Collins Innovations." Below it, a picture of Maya in the same black suit she wore now, shaking hands with global executives and standing in front of a tech expo stage. Dana's jaw dropped. She blinked, then looked back up at the woman she had just insulted, dismissed, and told to get lost. It was too late. Maya Collins wasn't just another visitor. She was the Maya Collins, founder and CEO of Collins Innovations, one of the fastest-growing tech investment firms in the country, known not only for building empires from scratch, but also for buying out struggling companies and turning them into billion-dollar successes. And guess what? Halverson Tech, this very company, was barely hanging on. Rumors had been swirling for months. Missed earnings, quiet layoffs, and hush-hush meetings in the boardroom. And that meeting Maya had? It wasn't just a meet and greet. She was the potential investor Halverson's board had been banking everything on. The last chance to save the company. But now, that meeting was dead. The power flip. Maya didn't raise her voice. She didn't scream. She didn't throw a fit. She calmly reached into her bag, pulled out her phone, and made one single call, right there, in front of everyone. "Hey, Robert," she said with a tone as smooth as silk. "Yeah, it's Maya. About the investment meeting with Halverson. Cancel it. I just got all the information I needed." She paused, letting that hang in the air like thunder about to strike. "Yeah, I'm out. I don't fund companies that tolerate disrespect toward women, especially not black women. Pull all offers. Oh, and give legal the green light to move forward on the acquisition proposal we discussed." Everyone heard it. Not just that she was walking away, but that she had the power to buy this company out. Dana looked like she'd seen a ghost. Her face turned pale, and she finally stood up, stammering, "I didn't know who you were." Maya didn't even flinch. "You didn't have to know who I was," she said. "You just had to show basic respect." She slid her phone back into her purse, adjusted her blazer, and gave a small, polite smile. "You told the wrong woman to get lost. And now, you're about to find out what that costs." With that, she turned and walked out. Her heels echoed louder than ever in the now silent lobby. The fallout by 3 p.m. The entire office knew what had happened. People whispered in the halls. Slack channels lit up. Someone even caught part of the incident on security footage, and though it wasn't supposed to be shared, it made the rounds. By the next morning, things moved fast. Maya's company publicly announced it had pulled all investment talks with Halverson Tech. Stocks dropped. Clients started asking questions. Investors panicked. And then came the second blow. Collins Innovations filed paperwork to acquire several of Halverson's smaller assets, ones they couldn't afford to lose. The company was being strategically picked apart. And Dana, she was fired within 24 hours. A new receptionist took her place by the end of the week. HR was instructed to conduct mandatory training for all staff on workplace professionalism, equity, and inclusion. The rise of Maya Collins. Maya, meanwhile, didn't even break her stride. She released no press statements, didn't gloat, didn't seek revenge. She just moved forward, business as usual. But the world noticed. News outlets picked up the story. Blogs called it the most powerful walkout in corporate history. Social media dubbed it the hashtag Maya effect. People started posting videos about what happened, praising Maya for her poise, her power, and her unwillingness to accept disrespect, even quietly. She became not just a respected CEO, but a symbol of quiet, unstoppable strength. Final message: what happened in that lobby wasn't just a mistake. It was a wake-up call, a reminder that you never know who someone is or what power they carry. That respect isn't based on race, gender, or the label society tries to stick on people. It's basic, and it's necessary. And Maya, she didn't need to yell. She didn't need to fight. She simply reminded the world, you don't have to raise your voice to shake the system. Sometimes, all it takes is walking away with your head held high. By now, a few other employees had stopped to watch. Whispers were spreading, eyes wide with curiosity as the tension in the room became almost electric. The quiet hum of the office stilled as if holding its breath. One of the onlookers, a young intern named Jordan, froze in place when he heard the name, Maya Collins. His expression shifted from curiosity to disbelief in seconds. He leaned toward Dana, his voice low but urgent. Wait, did she say Maya Collins? The Maya Collins. Dana scoffed slightly, still not understanding the gravity of the situation. What are you talking about? She asked with a frown. Jordan, now clearly alarmed, quickly pulled out his phone. His fingers tapped frantically on the screen as he searched. Within moments, he turned the device toward Dana. There, in full color and bold headline, was a featured Forbes article titled, Maya Collins, the billion-dollar mind behind Collins Innovations. Beneath it was a photo of the very same woman now standing in their lobby, cool, composed, and silently observing the chaos she had unintentionally ignited. Dana's jaw dropped. Maya Collins wasn't just some job seeker or random visitor. She was the founder and CEO of a tech empire, one known for transforming struggling startups into billion-dollar machines. Her name alone carried power. Her presence in the building was monumental, and Dana had just dismissed her like she was nobody. Jordan, still whispering, explained. She's a legend in the tech world, a powerhouse. She invests in companies like this one, buys them out, rebuilds them, flips them into giants. She doesn't walk into buildings, she walks into boardrooms. Dana's face paled as reality hit. Maya hadn't been exaggerating when she said she had a meeting. The 10 a.m. appointment wasn't for a job interview. It was a strategic meeting with Mr. Halverson himself. The company had been quietly on the brink of bankruptcy, and Maya was their last hope for survival. Except now, that meeting was over before it even began. The room remained silent as Maya calmly reached into her bag and pulled out her phone. Her poise never wavered. No need to call Halverson, she said calmly. I'll make one myself. She dialed and waited only a moment. Hey, Robert? Yeah, it's Maya. About the investment meeting, cancel it. I just got all the information I needed. There was a pause. The employees nearby watched in awe as her face remained collected, voice unwavering. I don't fund companies that disrespect women, especially black women, pull all offers, and give legal the green light. Click. She hung up. She turned back to Dana and offered a polite, almost gentle smile. You just told the wrong person to get lost. And then, without another word, Maya turned and walked out. Her heels clicked with purpose against the marble floor, echoing louder now in the dead-quiet lobby. The moment was surreal. As the glass doors closed behind her, Dana stood motionless, still clutching the phone Jordan had shown her. The image of the Forbes article burned into her mind. Jordan exhaled, muttering, "That was historic." Back in the office, whispers turned into shouts. Phones began ringing. Confused voices echoed as word of Maya Collins spread like wildfire. In less than 30 minutes, Mr. Halverson himself burst into the lobby, red-faced and breathless. "What happened?" he barked. "Where is Maya?" Dana tried to explain, stammering through her words. I didn't know who she was. She looked like just some woman off the street. Jordan, no longer shy, interjected. You didn't even ask her name until after you insulted her. She tried to tell you. Halverson turned on Dana, his face a mix of panic and fury. We've been trying to get her to invest for 6 months. 6. She was our only chance. Do you have any idea what you've done? It was already too late. By that afternoon, the news had hit the industry. Maya had pulled out of the deal entirely. Not only that, she made it public why. Disrespect, racial bias, and failure to treat people with basic human decency. Her statement trended across LinkedIn, Twitter, and every major business outlet. Within a week, other investors began withdrawing interest. Clients reconsidered their contracts. Halverson Tech's stock plummeted. Internal emails leaked. And in less than a month, the once proud company filed for bankruptcy. Maya, she didn't look back. She used the incident as a springboard, not for revenge, but for empowerment. Her viral LinkedIn post read, "Never underestimate quiet power. Never dismiss someone because of their gender or skin color. I walk into rooms with value, and if I'm disrespected, I walk right back out with my worth intact." The post exploded. Business leaders, women's groups, and corporate activists hailed her as a symbol of grace under fire. Conference bookings followed. Keynotes, panel discussions, TEDx invites. Maya didn't ruin Halverson Tech with lawsuits or vengeance. She ended them with silence, dignity, and undeniable value. And she proved a simple truth. When you dismiss the wrong woman, you don't just lose a meeting. You lose the future. Maya Collins wasn't just some job seeker. She was the founder and CEO of Collins Innovations, a tech empire that had disrupted industries, elevated countless minority-owned startups, and built a reputation for transforming crumbling companies into powerhouses. Forbes, Bloomberg, even Wired called her the mind to watch. And now, here she was, in this lobby, being treated like a nobody. What made it worse? Halverson Tech had personally reached out to her. Twice. The company had been quietly floundering for months, barely staying afloat amid leadership scandals and declining revenue. Mr. Halverson himself had begged Maya to visit and consider a full acquisition. This meeting was their lifeline. And Dana, the front desk receptionist who saw herself as the gatekeeper of the executive kingdom, had just slammed that door shut with a smirk. The power flip Maya didn't raise her voice. She didn't argue. She simply took out her phone and made a single call. "Hey, Robert? Yeah, it's Maya. About the investment meeting, cancel it. I just got all the information I needed." There was a pause on the line. She continued, her voice clear and steady. "I don't fund companies that disrespect women, especially black women, pull all offers, and give legal the green light." She hung up, calm, graceful, in control. Turning back to Dana, she offered a final, polite smile. "You just told the wrong person to get lost." Then she walked away, heels clicking, presence undeniable. The fallout was immediate within an hour. The entire executive floor was buzzing. Word had reached Halverson himself, who came barreling down the elevator into the lobby like a man on fire. "Where is she?" he shouted. Dana, still pale, stood from her chair. "She's gone, sir. I didn't know who she was. She didn't look like." "Didn't look like what?" Halverson snapped. Dana fumbled for words. "Like someone important." An intern, Jordan, who had watched the whole thing, finally spoke up. "You didn't even ask her name. You just assumed." Halverson turned beet red. He ran a hand through his hair, then muttered, "Do you have any idea what you just cost us? We've been trying to land her investment for 6 months. She was ready to save this company. We were hanging on by a thread, and now." That thread had snapped. The domino effect. Maya's withdrawal wasn't just a hit. It was a message. She released a public statement the next day. "When you invite someone into your boardroom, but your lobby can't recognize their value, you've already lost. Respect should never be optional." The post went viral. Business leaders, DEI experts, and social justice advocates all weighed in. Hashtags like #RespectBlackWomen and #MayaCollinsMoment started trending. Other investors who had been watching Halverson Tech for signs of life pulled out too. Within days, the company's stock took a nosedive. Partnerships dissolved. Employees began updating their resumes. By the end of the month, Halverson Tech was done. Maya unbothered. Meanwhile, Maya kept moving forward. She was invited to speak at tech summits, featured in a New York Times op-ed, and even met with Congress to discuss inclusive entrepreneurship. When asked about the Halverson incident, she remained poised. This wasn't just about me. It was about the hundreds of women, especially black women, who walk into rooms every day and are underestimated before they say a word. The final scene. Dana's regret. Months later, Dana found herself unemployed. Halverson Tech's closure made her resume a harder sell, and whispers of her role in the fiasco followed her wherever she went. One rainy afternoon, as she walked past a bus stop downtown, she glanced up. A massive billboard towered above her. Maya stood on it in a tailored suit, arms folded, eyes fierce. The words beside her read, "Change the game, or build your own." Dana stopped in her tracks. She stared, and for the first time, the full weight of her mistake hit her. Maya didn't destroy Halverson Tech with lawsuits or rage. She destroyed it with silence, with dignity, by walking away with her worth intact. OUTRO, the real power is silent. The loudest one in the room isn't always the strongest. Real power walks in with purpose and walks out without apology. Remember Maya Collins, because the next time you see a quiet, confident woman walk through the door, you might be looking at the future of everything. Moments later, the glass elevator doors opened to the top floor, executive level, and within seconds, chaos began to unfold. Because you see, Maya Collins wasn't just anyone. She was the Maya Collins, tech innovator, startup queen, silent investor in half the firms downtown. And today, she was here as Halverson Tech's newest majority shareholder. Yeah, you heard that right. While Dana was scrolling TikTok and tossing attitude, Maya was quietly acquiring controlling interest in the very company she was now standing in. And her 10 a.m. meeting with Mr. Halverson? It wasn't to ask for funding. It was to announce his termination and her takeover as CEO. Shock waves in the boardroom when Maya entered the boardroom. The executive stood up in stunned silence. Mr. Halverson, gray suit, comb over, a man used to running the room, froze mid-sentence. "Maya," he said, trying to smile. "You're here early." "I'm right on time," she replied coolly, placing her leather folder on the polished table and sitting at the head. Without raising her voice, she began. "Let's get started." What followed was a masterclass in leadership. For 30 minutes, Maya laid out everything. A restructuring plan designed to revitalize the company, a new leadership team focused on innovation and accountability, and a long-overdue diversity and ethics overhaul that would clean house from the top down. Each executive glanced at the others, trying to keep up as she fired off data, statistics, and an action plan so airtight it left no room for argument. At the bottom of her printed agenda, Item 12, unprofessional behavior in public-facing staff. She didn't even need to say Dana's name. Downstairs, panic. Meanwhile, Dana was still at the front desk, arms crossed, venting to a co-worker. "Can you believe that woman? Acting like she owns the place. Who walks in like that, demanding a meeting?" A colleague leaned in, face pale. Dana, she kind of does." Dana rolled her eyes. "Yeah, right. What, is she the Queen of England now?" The colleague didn't answer. Instead, they gestured toward the flat screen on the lobby wall. It was tuned to a local news station. The breaking news ticker read, "Breaking. Maya Collins named CEO of Halverson Tech after acquiring majority stake." Dana's laugh died in her throat. Her jaw dropped. The color drained from her face. She was still staring, frozen in disbelief, when the security officer appeared beside her desk, holding a manila folder. "Donna Jenkins." Her eyes darted to him, barely able to nod. "You're being asked to collect your things. Effective immediately." The officer placed the folder gently on the counter. Inside were her termination papers and a final paycheck. Maya's presence echoed upstairs. The boardroom was clearing out. Executives filed out one by one, some whispering among themselves, others nodding in solemn respect. Maya stood at the window, looking out at the city skyline, unbothered, composed. One of the younger board members hesitated at the door. "That was impressive. You really meant it when you said you don't tolerate disrespect." She turned slightly, her voice calm. "I don't threaten. I act. That's the difference." He nodded and left, leaving Maya alone with her thoughts and her new empire. Downstairs, Dana slowly packed her things. Her co-workers avoided eye contact. The same people who laughed with her earlier were now eerily silent. Nugo odbis. No sympathy. Just the echo of Maya's heels, still clicking in Dana's mind. Legacy in motion. By the end of the day, Halverson Tech had been rebranded as Collins Core Technologies. Maya didn't just take over, she transformed. In the following weeks, she launched mentorship programs, promoted overlooked talent, and held quarterly town halls where every employee had a voice. People who had been ignored for years were finally being seen and heard. Dana watched from afar as Maya graced magazine covers, gave TED Talks, and stood as a beacon of modern leadership. A photo went viral, Maya in the same lobby where she'd once been dismissed, now surrounded by interns, shaking hands and listening attentively. One of those interns was Jordan, the same young man who had recognized her name that day. And the caption? "Real power walks in quietly and builds what others try to tear down." Dana read it 3 times. Then she closed her laptop, sat in silence, and finally understood. She hadn't just disrespected a woman. She'd underestimated a force of nature. That meeting was over before it even started. The receptionist barely glanced up when Maya walked through the doors of Halverson Tech dressed in a sleek black suit with understated gold accessories and a confident, quiet presence. She didn't fit the chaos of the office or the polished arrogance that seemed to hum beneath the surface. Maya had come early, wanting to get a feel for the environment before the investment meeting. But the moment she introduced herself, Dana, the receptionist, barely stifled smirk. "No one's allowed back without an appointment," Dana said curtly, her voice lined with condescension. "You can wait in the lobby, but I doubt you'll get very far." Maya raised an eyebrow. "I'm here for the 10 o'clock. Dana scoffed. "Sure you are. Look, sweetie, investors usually send assistants ahead to check the place out, but you'll need to wait outside. This is a high-security firm. We don't just let anyone walk in." "Just anyone?" Maya didn't respond right away. She didn't need to. She tilted her head slightly and gave Dana a measured look, one that conveyed both amusement and disbelief. Then she sat down, calm, composed, in control. 10 minutes later, Jordan, an associate who actually knew what was going on, walked into the lobby and froze. His eyes landed on Maya and immediately widened. "Miss Taylor," he said, rushing forward. "I'm so sorry. Did no one come get you?" Dana blinked. "Wait, she's the Maya Taylor." Jordan looked at her like she'd grown 3 heads. "Yes, the Maya Taylor. The one Halverson's been trying to get a meeting with for 6 months." Dana turned pale, but it was already too late. The power flip Maya stood, brushing a non-existent wrinkle from her sleeve. Calmly, she pulled out her phone. "No need to call Halverson," she said, without looking at Dana. "I'll make one myself." She dialed, and the room seemed to hold its breath. "Hey, Robert? Yeah, it's Maya. About the investment meeting. Cancel it. I just got all the information I needed." She paused. Then, "I don't fund companies that disrespect women, especially black women, pull all offers, and give legal the green light." She hung up, then turned to Dana with a small, polite smile. "You just told the wrong person to get lost." And with that, she walked out, heels clicking louder than ever. Every step echoed with purpose. Every click was a warning. You should have known better. The fallout was immediate. Within an hour, the office was a disaster zone. Mr. Halverson stormed into the lobby, red-faced and nearly shouting. "Where is she? Where is Maya Taylor?" Jordan approached cautiously. "She left. After what happened at the front desk." Dana tried to explain, her voice trembling. I didn't know who she was. She looked like just some woman walking in off the street. I thought. You thought. Halverson cut her off. You thought? We've been trying to get her to invest for half a year. She was ready to save this company. She was our last shot. Jordan added, You didn't even ask her name until after you insulted her. The silence that followed was suffocating. By Friday, the investment deal was officially dead. Maya had pulled out and made it clear exactly why. Other investors quickly followed suit, many of them women and people of color who had long admired Maya's principles. By the end of the month, Halverson Tech filed for bankruptcy. Maya didn't stop there. She could have moved on quietly. But Maya saw an opportunity, a chance to use what happened to shine a spotlight on something bigger. On Monday morning, she published a post on LinkedIn. It read, Never judge a book by its cover or a woman by her silence. I don't need to raise my voice to make an impact. I walk in with value, and when disrespected, I walk right back out with my worth intact. Within hours, the post went viral. Tens of thousands of professionals, especially women, shared it. Some added their own stories. Others just applauded her grace, her composure, her refusal to tolerate casual discrimination disguised as standard procedure. Major publications picked up the story. Business Insider called it the quietest power move of the year. Forbes featured Maya in a cover story about ethical investing. She became a keynote speaker at tech and leadership conferences, where she challenged executives to not just hire for diversity, but to respect it. Don't wait until someone has a title to treat them with dignity, she told one crowd. Assumptions are expensive. Just ask Halverson Tech. Final scene. Dana's regret months later. Dana was walking downtown, resume in hand, chasing job interviews she used to be the one rejecting. She glanced up and froze. There, towering above the street on a sleek glass skyscraper, was a massive billboard. Maya stood on it, looking effortlessly powerful in a tailored suit, arms folded, eyes forward. The caption read, Change the game, or build your own. Pedestrians stopped to admire it. Some took photos. A group of young professionals discussed how inspired they were by Maya's story. Dana didn't move. She remembered that day so clearly. The casual dismissal, the smirk, the way she didn't even ask Maya's name. She had lost more than a job. She had lost the respect of her peers, her credibility in the industry, and most of all, she had lost the chance to learn from one of the most powerful voices in business today. Maya didn't destroy Halverson Tech with lawsuits or public outrage. She destroyed it with dignity, by simply walking away. And now, she was building something greater, something that couldn't be ignored, belittled, or blocked at a front desk.